Good morning, Dubai. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show, where we go through the top trending stories that everyone across the country is talking about. Our top story for you today: are you happy with your salary? Because over 70% of UAE citizens are not in the private sector.
Next story: Twinkle Stanley creates overwhelming demand for her first event.
We're talking about a Dubai man who racked up 76,000 dirham in Lamborghini fines.
And when it comes to annual review time, do you review your salary? Because one Dubai-based company has banned salary negotiations, and we want to know if you think it's a good idea.
In today's rapid weather report, it's mostly sunny with temperatures ranging from 28 to 38 degrees. You'll notice Massa is not here. Thank you, Annika, for jumping in. Annika is the lady, the myth and the legend behind lots of the news stories you see, and she's been on the show many times before. Massa is sick, but you're feeling...
all right, thankfully.
Despite there's some sickness in your household.
There is. My little nephew is sick, and he has been sick. But sometimes we think that it's just a ploy to get out of nursery. But it's nursery. Why would you go to get out of nursery?
What age is he?
He's 4. So well, technically he's in KG1 now. Yes, I've been recently alerted that
he's in KG1. Oh,
he's in KG1.
Cute age. I'd ask you to show a photo, but I don't think it's. I don't think it's okay. Not here. When was the first time you faked sick?
Actually, I'd never faked sick because I loved going to school. So sometimes my mom would ask me, "Do you want to stay home?" Because she thought it was abnormal that I didn't want to fake sick. But I would just be like, no, and I'd just run wrong to school.
I don't think your nephew is faking sick at 4.
Yeah, though. Yeah. I mean, he does cry a lot. And he woke up at 4 a.m. and he was crying. So he's sick. It's not the first case. I mean, in our office, there were a bunch of people who fell sick. There is a general sickness.
Feels like so many people are sick at the moment.
Yeah, it feels like a climate change thing. Have you noticed that every time there's a dust storm, people fall sick the next day?
I have not. Was there a dust storm?
There was a mini dust storm yesterday. At least in my area there was, in Sports City.
It's in the air.
It's in the air. There's something in the air.
Whenever I hear people are coming down with something, Sandra, one of her colleagues, was sick last week. She was quite sick, so I was just like, I just want to make sure I've got that space. No offense.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse. And you think like, oh, someone's sick, they're at home from work, but there's nothing worse than lying in bed and feeling so sorry for yourself, and you get totally out of your routine.
Yeah,
totally out of everything. Like, remember back in the the COVID days, and it would get you for like a week or two, and then it would take even longer to recover? Not it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know because I didn't get COVID. But yeah. Thanks.
You never got COVID?
I don't think so. At least, I don't think so, yeah. It's just privilege. It's just privilege. I had the privilege to stay at home and not go out and just chill. I was in India, though, so...
Kirby also never got COVID.
Ah.
I don't know, they just told me in my ear. Oh, Ujjwal didn't get COVID. Okay.
Ujjwal didn't get COVID.
There's a situation in Ujjwal's office when there was what? 105 people were COVID positive and you were negative?
Wow. Wow.
Wow, those were
Seems like a false negative. You know?
I hope you were isolating anyway. Those were the days when we were tracking all of that. So
There are some people who never get the disease, but they just end up being carriers. So you just carry it around and you spread it to everybody, but you don't have it.
so
That was the story
interesting.
of Typhoid Mary. It's this old story of this lady who used to go around cooking, and she never used to wash her hands. So she would make everyone sick. So she was a carrier of typhoid, but she never had it herself.
Is this
So
an old wives' tale or is it
no,
like
no,
a
it's
true?
an actual story. So people used to keep going around wondering why these children were falling sick, and no one really knew why until somebody finally directed their suspicions towards the cook. And that's when, so she was basically banned from cooking.
Where was this?
This was, I don't remember where, I think it was in like England or US or something like that. Typhoid Mary, it's an actual story, yeah.
Wash your hands.
Yeah. If anything is back, you know, keep hygiene.
Just wash your
Wash
hands.
your hands. Don't touch your face.
Don't go out if you're feeling unwell.
Wear a mask
Wear a mask.
if you have to go out.
Okay, thank you guys, everyone, for tuning in. We were lovely to see all the comments already on the live, and we'd love your comments on this story. Over 70% of UAE citizens are not happy with their salaries in the private sector. So is Emiratisation working? A new report says 7 in 10 UAE citizens are not happy.
Only 25.76% of Emirati employees say that they're actually satisfied with what they earn. So what's the issue? Employers say the biggest challenge in hiring Emiratis is unrealistic salary expectations.
And this is according to a report by MOHRE. And the gap might be growing. 43% of Emirati employees expect a rise of 10% or more this year. So they're expecting, and that would be up from 37.6% from last year.
So what are they actually being offered? Well, 56% of employers are offering salaries between 4,000 dirhams and 10,000 dirhams. 31.1% are offering between 10,000 and 20,000 dirhams. And only 8.4% offer salaries in the 20,000 to 30,000 range.
The big question, I think, and this is related specifically to Emiratis in the private sector, but I mean, we're saying 70 to 80% are unhappy, but like, who actually says they're happy with their salary?
That's so true. Nothing is ever enough, you know. You get something and then you think that's too less because you upgrade your quality of living. And the thing with Dubai is there's always so much to buy and so much to spend on that you'll never actually be happy. It'll never feel like it's enough.
And we're surrounded by the biggest houses and the biggest cars.
Exactly.
The
There's always
fanciest
something
labubus.
to aspire.
the cutest labubus. I don't have one.
The fanciest.
Yet.
There's always something to aspire to on top of it. It just never. And I notice myself sometimes getting sucked into the vortex, and I'm like, no. Like, you need the mental discipline, the financial goal setting.
You do.
Yeah.
I have my days though.
Yeah. Everyone
I
has
allow
them.
the suck into Unas take me.
Suck it to nuts. But we did a WhatsApp poll.
Yes, we did. Asking people, are they happy with their salaries? The questions were not even a little bit. It's fine. It matches my level and skill set. Can't complain. It pays the bills. Oh, you can see where someone in the team has answered. And exceeds expectations. Who knew? So majority are saying not even a little bit happy.
But again, I think it comes down to the vortex. But there are some terrible cases of people being paid 2,000 dirhams a month.
Mm-hmm.
I think those salaries need to be really looked into because sometimes that's just... I mean, I don't think 2,000 dirhams a month is enough for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh my God, there are companies that cut salaries based on if you come in late. If you, every time you come in late, they cut it. They cut out some amount of your salary.
Oh my gosh.
And things like that, and it gets really hard.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's a different ball game.
Yeah.
Different kettle of fish. I know some schools who were a bit like, if you took some leave, then your salary would be taken.
Exactly.
And that would obviously affect your bottom line massively. But we're going to talk a little bit later about salary negotiations in the workplace and if you do it versus if you don't do it. But before we get there, a happy local story.
Yeah, a little twist into, if you're not happy with your salary, what can you do? Probably start your own social media thing, like Twinkle Stanley did, because she had overwhelming demand for her first event. So Twinkle Stanley hosted an event on May 18th to discuss all things social media. She shared the invite link and hoped for the best.
And plot twist, the event turned out to be totally oversold in just 24 hours.
So what was supposed to be a 1-hour event turned out to be a 3-hour social media workshop where she shared her personal experiences and tips and tricks.
How amazing.
I'm really happy for her. I think because a lot of us saw, she just started popping up in so many videos because she had such interesting perspectives, interesting takes on so many things. So to be able to see her do this, reach a point where she has an oversold event, it's really cool. But it also says something about our Dubai society in general. People are jumping into the social media. Social media is genuinely looking like a viable career option. So that's very interesting.
You're right. It's so interesting because I think Twinkle does everything so naturally.
Yeah.
And I think her talent is that her stories are always so raw and they seem so unfiltered and so genuine.
Yeah.
And it's her thoughts
Yes.
outside, which is just perfect.
Yeah, because she has great thoughts.
She has great thoughts. And can everyone do what she does? I guess that's what everyone is trying to learn last night.
Trying to learn, yeah.
And building a community where you can ask questions and you've got someone that a great role model to look up to. And it's just a nice thing because sometimes like Dubai, there's this like flashy side of the city and, you know, you would wonder what's it like behind the scenes. Are people competitive and is it a rat race? But Twinkle is using her platform for good, which is really nice.
It's really nice. Yeah.
What's not really nice is a man who racked up 76,000 in Lamborghini fines. What a segue.
So, Dubai resident learned the hard way that luxury comes with a price tag and consequences. So, according to Akhbarna News, the man rented a Lamborghini Urus for 37 days at 1,000 dirhams per day. But he only paid 565 dirhams.
So he only paid 565 in total.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And while doing this, he also accumulated 2,180 dirhams in traffic and SALIC fines and then ghosted the rental company.
Okay, the company took the issue to DCD, Dubai Civil Court, presented the signed agreement and record of all unpaid dues. However, the renter failed to appear in court and the court has now ruled in favour of the company, ordering the renter to pay a total of 76,572 dirham. Why are you renting it if you can't afford it?
See, that's
so
the Dubai
cheeky.
vortex I was talking about. You always get sucked into looking like you do something that you can't afford.
I want to go back over this. So he rented the car for 37 days at 1,000 per day. 37,000 dirham. Fast math. But he only paid, we've struggled with maths recently on the show and I've been way off with some numbers, but I'm pretty sure that one.
Yes,
but
1,000 into 37.
Thank you very much. But he only paid 565 dirham. I would have thought that they would have put a stricter deposit on any renter of something of that price.
100%. I'm sure they should have. I hope they did. But now they get 76,000. But if he's not there, how are they going to find him?
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know if it's a resident or a tourist. The supercar for clout thing is very interesting. I was at a nice hotel over the weekend and I saw a nice car in, you know, the valet section. They keep the nicest ones out front. And then this influencer who was doing, this lady, I don't know what she does, she was doing a photo shoot and she walked over to each car and was taking photos next to them as though she was coming out of them, has owned them, type of like putting her hand on the door.
Yeah,
she was putting her hand on the door.
Oh God,
you know,
I see so many of this. Anywhere you go, there's a fancy car. There'll always be like 3 people next to it, acting like it's their own. It's the vortex. There's so much that you want to look like you have, but what's the point? You don't have it. I'm so stressed out.
So true. I feel like you can afford these things by all means.
Yeah.
Treat yourself. We're in a city where we can explore our wildest fantasies in terms of material possessions.
But actual
But don't
people,
pretend
you know,
like you can afford a Lamborghini and rack up fines. Like, it's totally unethical.
But if you actually look at it, actual millionaires or people with a lot of money, I mean, I'm sure they have their own quirky collections of cars and all of that. But generally, they're more practical on the streets and all of that. They're not really walking around with sports cars,
Interesting.
I think.
You do see
In
some
my
very
opinion.
humble billionaires. Is it Warren Buffett? He's one of the most famous US investors, and he still has the same old car that he's had for like 20 years because he doesn't see the need.
Because a lot of times when you get all this money, you realize that, you know, I think the reason I made all of this is because I subscribe to a particular kind of vortex-less lifestyle. So
Word of the day, Vortex. I think I'd buy a yacht.
you rent a yacht.
I think I'd rent a yacht if I could. Let's take a quick break. The Lovin Dubai newsletter has had a major refresh. So if you don't want to be on Instagram, but you still want your daily dose of news fresh to your inbox every day, you can subscribe now to the Lovin Dubai newsletter.
So you'll find the sign up link on our link in bio on Instagram.
Okay, our final story of the day. A Dubai company has banned salary negotiations. The company is called Sarwa. They're an investment platform.
Yep.
They believe a higher salary should not depend on your ability to negotiate. So they've said no negotiation allowed. Everyone gets the best offer that they can make upfront and no games. So, yes.
So how does it work? Sarwa's leadership team gets a salary benchmark by researching and analyzing data from across the MENA region. The goal? Total salary transparency. They have created a standard equity baseline to ensure fairness for all. Of course, this approach has its challenges. For instance, they are willing to let go of candidates who push for more than the set salary, and the fair pay still requires location-based adjustments to reflect cost of living differences.
So, I'd love to put this question to the audience and to you, Annika. What do you think? Should salaries be fixed and fully transparent to ensure fairness across a company? Or does removing that negotiation take away your individual power to advocate for your true net worth? Are some employees worth more than others? Is kind of like a weird question to ask.
Yeah, I don't think an employee is worth more than the other employee. But I do think negotiation is a very good skill to learn in life. And what other place than a workplace to learn about it? You know, because you actually negotiate through every aspect of your life. So to be able to have that discussion is a very important moment in someone's life. It's to be able to say, this is what I'm worth, and like, I want this much more, is a good skill to have. So for that, I would say it's good to keep this, to keep it, you know, to allow an employee to come in and ask for more. I think because when an employee comes in to ask for more, there's so much thought that goes behind that question. A lot, usually, at least, majority of the times, you know, because they keep track of the amount of work that they've done. And they come in and they're like, hey, you know, I've done all of this. I've added this much value to the company. Hence, I'm asking you for a raise. But so to, you know, so then it's just like incentive. Just the thought of asking for a raise becomes incentive for an employee suddenly to do more work, to put in that extra effort because they know that at the end of the year, they have something that they want to put towards their boss and ask for.
True, but I think like there would be salary brackets in every role, so it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's on the same thing. And you're right that negotiation is an important part of life, and if these specific rules aren't in place, people should negotiate. But one of the words that the CEO used in the longer LinkedIn post was privilege, and it's saying that people who negotiate could possibly leave the job. They're in a better position that maybe they could leave. So if you're like an entry-level person, you're going in for a new job, and And if you say yes because you need the money,
Yeah.
or if you say no, I can get this elsewhere, or I don't need this job because I have a comfortable situation at home.
Yeah.
So some people have come from a place of privilege, and therefore they have more.
Leeway to just.
They can be stricter on the negotiation because they can leave if they don't get it, while
Yeah.
other people need the job. They have a family, they've got kids, da, da. And I think especially as you get, like, your salary is everything. Your
Yeah.
salary will determine, especially if you're a breadwinner or provider in your
Yeah.
family, your salary will determine the lifestyle for all of the people around you.
Yeah.
And if you're in a place of privilege, you can be a bit stricter on that, but if you're not, you'll just accept it. So I think on that vein, I really like this. And also, I'm not much of a negotiator. So, no, but I like this transparency. And I think that if you should have salary brackets, so not everyone gets the same thing for sure. It's based on merit and year and hard work. But just because someone's stronger at negotiation, but let's say you're in an admin role, let's say in your accounting, negotiation doesn't come into your job, why would you have a different pay scale between two employees at that place? Would be my view on it.
So here, I agree with you what you're saying, but I just think then the onus should be on companies to provide that basic salary that allows a person to get through life and still keep negotiations open. Because this is true that there is a privilege aspect associated with negotiating, but I mean, it's just so important. Like, even if you work in accounting and you don't have anything to do with negotiation, I just think it's still important, this one, to know your self-worth and to ask for it. Just the act of doing that, even if you don't get it, just the act of asking, it just helps you realize what you're worth. And then you put yourself into more uncomfortable positions of asking for these things. And it's just, pushing yourself out there, and that putting yourself out there leads you to more opportunities. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Is anyone watching? Could we, do you want to jump into the comments there and see if there's any...
I'm looking at them here.
Oh, you've got them here.
Yeah.
Anyone out there with a salary, would you negotiate or not? I'm not sure. I don't know. Just bring minimum wage. Yeah, I don't know about that. Let's see.
See, minimum wage might be a good idea.
Let's think about it. Okay, so we've lost our poll question. Sometimes, by the way, on these stories, we really love to get your response on them. So we put the question on our WhatsApp. We might also put it on our Instagram story. So if you ever like to get involved in the conversation, please feel free to.
Yeah, jump in.
We're getting some messages from the guys behind the screens as well. Kirby, what's up? Okay. Okay, that's going to bring us to the end of the show today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank
Okay,
you. Thank you
great.
for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And
And
guys,
listening to my random thoughts.
and listening to Lovin Dubai News. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back here with you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Bye.